right, let's call it to order. First up, do we have any additions or corrections to tonight's agenda? Does everybody have tonight's agenda? All right.
I thought we didn't have anywhere where we find out, because this is our last meeting, right, before town meeting?
Yeah?
So do we need to see, usually we take a count of who's up for re-election and figure out where we're at on that?
Well, we can do that.
Just at some point, maybe.
Sure, we can do that.
Hey, Joe,
Yes?
you should probably just mention, because now that you've called it to order, that I'm online.
Hi, Emily.
Right.
I
I was wondering who's pointing at the computer and counted the number. I'm like,
Well, I was counting you in our quorum, Emily. We have, Emily has joined us virtually. So if you want Emily to hear you, you kind of have to talk to the sky because the microphone's up there somewhere.
I actually can hear, I think, all of you pretty well, except when more than one person is talking at the same time.
All right,
I can hear the distant ones too.
Drew just joined us, so we're almost full board. Chocolate, Drew? All right, so at additions and corrections, we're gonna just go through real quickly who's up for re-election, because this is the last meeting before town meeting. We'll get that done near the other business or something. We have no members of the public with us tonight, so we can skip right over that. Does anybody have any board correspondence? Emails, letters, anything? I didn't check the box, but I got nothing. All right, moving right along. I guess next is the discussion of the Australian ballot vote. As I'm sure you all know, the budget did pass by almost a 2-to-1 margin. Every town actually passed it. Wyndham was the tightest with like a 3 or 4 vote margin. I could look it up and give you the numbers if you wanted to, but
Brookline was pretty tight too.
Brookline was
like
tight.
one vote.
you know, I know when the reporters called me, I said it was a sign of support, you know, the support that Leland and Gray has and the confidence that we have in our principal and our superintendent to get us through these difficult times. You know, I'm glad to see it happened. It gives us a little breathing room for the difficult work that comes next year when we have to sort of bring ourselves, you know, reinvent ourselves and bring ourselves back in line with what needs to happen fiscally.
Bob, your synopsis about that was was very well written the next day, and I was grateful for that. The email you sent out the day after.
Oh, okay. Yep. And then I did write a little sort of thank you letter to the community, which is on our website as well.
So anything else about the budget?
Yeah, I just have 2 comments. First of all, the night before the vote, that meeting that lasted 17 minutes, granted, it was a snowstorm, but, you know, that was like, there was like 7, 8 people in attendance.
Okay.
And, I mean, just read through the agenda, called to vote, called question, vote, approval, done. The whole thing start to finish 17 minutes for the record books.
Mm-hmm.
And then the budget actually total vote was what, 300 people?
350?
It was 276 to 139, so 400.
400, which is not the lowest turnout we've had. But anyway, just it's interesting that I was expecting a lot more discussion.
Well, I think two things affected the meeting, the short annual meeting. One was the weather. I mean, you know, it was a tough night to travel.
Yeah.
And the second thing is, by that point, we had 4 or 5 budget information meetings where we had taken a lot of input from the community and made changes based on that input. By this point, by the point of the annual meeting, the budget is done. You know, you can't change it anymore. It's going to be voted on the way it is. So unless you have a real question about something or you want something explained, you're going to say your piece in the voting booth rather than come to the meeting and try and make a change or have some influence on the budget, because the influence, you know, the time to influence the budget had passed, and we had a lot of community involvement during that. But this one was just kind of like, okay, we've said our piece, it's now the way we understand it to be, and it was largely a formality. At least that was my thinking on it. I mean, I don't know.
And
That way
meetings
it's-
for other things too. The annual meeting, it has a whole agenda of things to be voted on by the public.
Right, it's real scripted with, setting a moderator and setting salaries and electing a clerk and a secretary, or I'm sorry, a secretary and a treasurer and things like that. So, it was a very brief meeting. Anybody else? Alrighty. Administrative reports. Dominic, I saw your report. I didn't read through it because I just picked it up, but you guys, you want to go first representing our students?
Sure. So the semesters have changed. We had finals, and we're into the second semester now. The Spain trip had a dance to support it on the 28th, and they leave for Spain tomorrow. The Rebels played a good game against the Harlem Superstars with a score of about 90-30. Our basketball teams are doing pretty well this season. The girls' varsity is 7th in Division III, and the boys' varsity is 15th in Division III. And then February 11th, there was a Thailand dinner to support the Thailand trip, where you could have Thai food, learn some Thai words, and I think they had demonstrations of Muay Thai there. And then we had the Hoops for Hope basketball games to support the Alexis Giolella Scholarship Fund, raising about $2,000. And that's all I got.
That's terrific. Did you go to the Thailand dinner?
I didn't end up making it.
I still haven't talked to anybody that went. I wanted to go.
How was it?
It was fabulous.
I wanted to go. I had another commitment.
The food was authentic Thai food, and it was delicious. And the martial arts demonstration was sort of disorganized, but they informed me that martial art doesn't believe in order. And I should remark that my old Japanese sword sensei said that Muay Thai, pound for pound, is the toughest martial art in the world. So it was great.
Very cool. Thank you. Anybody have any questions for Dominic? Put him on the spot. Have some fun. All right. Bob, what do you got for us?
Well, one addition to the fundraising list there that Tom mentioned, at a recent boys basketball game against Springfield, the proceeds of the ticket sales and the Booster Club sales went to the family of a Springfield senior basketball player who's battling cancer. A lot of the area schools are putting together programs to raise money for his family, and so obviously I knew the kid. He was a student of mine in Springfield, and so I got to visit with him a little bit when he came to the game, and wasn't playing obviously, but was very touched. His family was very touched by the outpouring of support from our community, so I thought that was pretty cool. Almost $400 we raised for him one night, so
Very nice.
that was cool. My reports, there's copies on the front there. Some of you that were here earlier got copies, but the rest are right up there if you didn't get one. I want to go through a couple of these because some of these things are things we want to just keep in the front of our head. So we were talking about the heating plant and some of the needs we're going to have to the capital funding and our stewardship plan. And we told you we were going to continue to work on that and exploring what those costs would be. So we've taken the next step and we have contracted with an engineering company, CX Associates out of Burlington. This is for what we call the pre-study. They'll come and spend a couple of days. We'll get them in early spring to come and look at our lighting and our heating and to make recommendations about how we should approach a full study and how that study will inform what changes we want to have. So we're hoping to continue this process so that by the end of the summer we have some real numbers around what are the big ticket items we need to be looking at and to inform our budget development next fall. The cost for their visit will be about $7,500. $5,000 of that will be covered by the Efficiency Vermont grant. So we'll have to pay out about $2,500, but certainly it will give us some good starting points with that. We're also doing some radon testing coming up over the February vacation. I guess there had been some radon issues identified a year or so ago. Not entirely sure when it began, but we had to wait for the winter to close up the building to do the full testing, and so that's going to happen. When we get the results of that, we'll share with you guys around what, if any, improvements need to be made and the costs associated with such improvements. This room is one of the areas of concern. All right, so we were supposed to do on our July 24th in service, work with the leadership design person that we had, I briefed you guys on last time. That obviously got postponed because of a pretty significant ice storm that day. We have rescheduled that to Monday, March 6th. So what we're gonna do at Leland and Gray is give the kids a 4-day weekend around the town meeting day. And the teachers will come in on the 6th, the Monday, do this professional development with Erin, and then return to work after the town meeting day. So we'll have students will have a 4-day weekend, and we're in the process of getting that word out to families as well. The follow-up to that event, there's some middle events that happen with a smaller team of teacher leaders and myself at the high school and some students. There is a follow-up, a full second PE day where we sort of present out and talk about what the outcome of that planning has been. So we, with the permission you guys had given us earlier in the year to kind of, sort of change some student days into teacher days to get the work done that we need to get done, we've scheduled the second one for Friday, May 26th, which is the Friday of Memorial Day weekend, again, to give kids and families a 4-day weekend, but to have a day for teachers to do that work here in the building. A couple Student of the Month notifications here. Jesselyn Stockwell is November, Maris Linder for December, and this is through the Elks program, Student of the Month program, so they will be joining the Elks for a banquet dinner at the end of the school year, and get to go and visit with other schools, winners from around the region. The other thing I wanted to mention, I think I've talked to you guys about this, but I wanted to just give you some, as we're getting closer to the date, give you some more specific information. The other handout I gave you about the Margaret Waddington Leadership Initiative. This is the program that is due to a generous gift by her estate to this organization, the Center for Creative Leadership in Greensboro, North Carolina, back to Vermont as a way of improving leadership in Vermont. The Vermont Principal Association was a recipient of some of those funds, and I was accepted into their first cohort. So the week after vacation week, I will not be here for the entire week, traveling out Monday morning, returning Friday afternoon, with 3 solid days of training down there. If you look at the calendar of this, you can see that there'll be 2 days in the summer as well, 2 more in the fall, and a bunch of online and phone conversation things as well. Laura Hazard from Jamaica School is also in the cohort with me, and very excited to be doing this work with her as well. So there is zero cost to the district, because this was entirely paid for out of this foundation, and money being filtered from that to the organization through the VPA to us. So if you hear about me vacationing for a second week in North Carolina, I won't be vacationing, and it's not costing anything, so don't worry about it. But I think I'm gonna be able to bring back some good work to help guide the school and the district, and it's a Center for Creative Leadership, so it's kind of what we need right now. So I'm pretty excited about that, and to be able to work with other peers from across the state as well. So this morning, we had a couple of you guys stop in. We had a very important award. Ann Landenberger was nominated for and won the Vermont level of the Heart of the Arts Award, which is an award given by the National Federation of High Schools through their partnerships, which for us is the VPA. And each state winner then competes regionally and then can go on for a national award. Marty Testo, the AD, Activities Director and Athletic Director, nominated her and went through the paperwork to get that in action. And we were thrilled to hear that she won for the state of Vermont and will now proceed to the regional work. And if you don't know Ann, which hopefully you do, but this is work that she's done around building up the players, which didn't exist when she came here 21 years ago. So we're very cool to have that, and we'll get a press release out. Performer was not able to come, but I have some information to send them and some good pictures that our yearbook staff took this morning as well. So we'll get that out to you guys.
That's terrific. I'm
I'm
sure.
very surprised and very
Yeah.
full
Yeah.
of emotion.
Well, we brought some family members in and, you know, kind of tweaked her a little. We knew we could tug the heartstrings with her a little bit.
Yeah.
She didn't know about it?
She knew she'd been nominated, and I don't know if she knew she had won or not, but she certainly wasn't expecting a big thing
Oh, wow. Very
and,
cool.
you know, family to show up and everything else. I think that part was really
And it was
touching.
supposed to be yesterday.
It was originally going to be
Yeah.
yesterday,
Right,
yep.
yeah.
And because of the snow day, we moved it to today. And a couple of kids spoke, you know, Marty spoke to her about what he had written, and a couple students spoke as well, which was, I think, the part that kind of got her the most. And it was very cool, so.
Sounds terrific. Congratulations, Dan.
Yeah, it was a great honor for her. We're very excited, very proud. So you folks, just to update you guys on where we were on the early retirement offer that you guys had given us the green light to go ahead and offer. We had 4 takers. That window has since closed, but Ann is one of them. Jane Olmsted is a social studies teacher, Paul Pate is a science teacher, and Ron Kelly, one of our music teachers, have all taken that and will be retiring at the end of the school year. Together, they're nearly 100 years of educational experience, and it's quite a bit of experience to walk on the door at the same time. I know someone had mentioned that concern about what happens if you lose too much, and yeah, we're losing a lot. And it's that part's a little bit concerning around institutional history and knowledge and those kinds of things. But obviously, it's a very good opportunity for us to hire some replacements and so on and so forth. Paul Pate as a science teacher, his position will not be replaced because that's one of the areas that we ripped. So instead of reducing a person, we'll just do that by attrition of him leaving. And the last thing on here is just a little bit updated where we are with snow days. Bill and I were talking a little bit today, and this is just kind of just to give you guys a plan. We are including the no power day in October. We're up to 5. I would recommend, so the state minimum requirement is 175 days of operation for a school. Leland and Gray has, at least in recent history, been at 180. So they've been 5 over. Because of the 5 snow days and the 2 other PD days that we're converting, I'm gonna recommend that we just go to the 175 minimum at this point and see how things play out. If we have a lot more, we might have to do something different. There is a means to go through the AOE to get a waiver if the number of snow days pushes you too far back. But we're already gonna be having school and certainly teacher days past graduation at this point. So, which isn't the end of the world, but it's a little bit weird. So we gotta kind of figure out how that plays out and make plans for that with final exams and everything else. So I just wanted to give you the update on that and see if anybody had any negative feelings towards that approach at this point.
Would you be looking for a motion to do that tonight, or would you want to wait a little while, see how things play out the rest of the winter, and then make one final adjustment?
I think that's probably wiser, just to kind of wait it out and see how it goes, but I more just want to keep you in the loop on where we were thinking at this point. I mean, it's still, I won't say it's early yet, it's not early yet, but there's still some winter left.
Yes.
So it might be better just to kind of hang out and wait for a little bit. So, unless you guys have questions, that's all I have.
Is this, I didn't get a chance to read the Margaret Waddington Leadership Initiative. Is it only Vermont people who go, or is this like a nationwide
Yep.
nationwide gathering
Well,
of administrators?
the Center for Creative Leadership is a national organization that trains leadership in all capacities, from public industry and private sector stuff through education and public sector things as well. So they bring in big corporations send people there to get trained. They do outreach stuff with all sorts of different organizations. This particular cohort of people, there's going to be 24 people in my cohort, are all Vermont principals. So this particular setup is just for Vermont, just for education, just for principals. But there will be other sessions. I mean, it's a giant place. There'll be other sessions going on there with other people simultaneously. They'll have other who knows what types of executive training they have going on down there. It'll be hobnobbing it with some bigwigs maybe. So.
Sounds great.
Yep.
Anybody got any questions for Bob?
I don't know if it's for Bob or for Bill, but I would just, last week was very complicated weather-wise, and as a parent, I would like to congratulate you. And I'm sure you're not hearing a lot of that, but thank you very much for decisions that you made last week.
Thank you.
It's never easy.
It's,
No.
you're never right.
Never right.
No, I think you were right every
Until
time
you're
this
wrong,
time.
and then you're,
I
then you're
felt
wrong.
that it was good, so thank you.
Having been out in that stuff, you know, you were right every time this time.
Yeah.
We appreciate that very much.
All right. So last but certainly not least, Bill, anything you want to highlight in your cabinet report?
Yeah, so a couple things in the very, very back. There is a document there that is the annual financial worksheet.
Oh, this.
Yep. And so we have found that the easiest way to make sure that we get accurate information is to show the board that we're going to start working on that, run it through the local district to see what things they can answer, then have our office go through it, and then present it back to you so that you can see how your local world works, how the SU world works, and then for the board to review it so that you get efficient, full information. We have 2 months after we present it to you to bring it back to you so that we put it on file. So our plan is to have Bob take it for the next month, give it to Lori at the SU office, and then bring it back to you guys either in the March meeting or the April meeting.
So this wasn't an exercise.
So we don't have
for
to
how
answer
much we
this.
know.
No,
Oh, I thought it was. Oh, my God.
it's for the people that you employ to know.
Okay, I thought, oh, well, this would be good for us to know.
So I
but
just wanted
don't
you all to have a
know.
copy and just know that that's the process that we're gonna go through, and we're doing that at all the districts.
Okay. I wasn't sure if we had to answer the questionnaire in the beginning or
Yeah,
not.
me too.
Well, it's been done many different ways, but I think it's important for you guys to know what the people that you employ know,
Yeah,
and then for you to know what they know,
yeah.
and then to confirm what they know.
And that's how we know what's going on and know who to go to.
And if that's not the process that you guys wanna do next time, then we can improve that, but the other boards have felt very comfortable with doing that, so.
Yeah.
And then the last page is something that Lori's been asked for by every board, and so she wanted to make sure that I made sure that everybody had it. And so that is every single district in the supervisory union, and kind of plays out their tax rate, their budget, all the way down. Just kind of pre-answers a lot of questions that she gets asked a lot of times. And as you guys get prepared, you guys will be going to individual town meetings. If you participate as your own self, it's a nice document to have. Every board will have this, but it's just a nice, easy snapshot to see where everybody is playing with equalized pupils and with common level of appraisals and estimated tax rates, and just something we wanted to have for all the board members to have in their hands as town meeting approaches. So Lori wanted me to make sure I kind of updated those things because she is on a cruise in the Bahamas. Very rightfully earned over these past few months. Just a couple highlights from my report for the entire cabinet. In the middle, there's the Education Legislative Report, which is a really nice breakdown from the Vermont School Boards Association and the Vermont Superintendents Association of kind of what is going on in the legislature. I'll always include those and share those with you guys. They do a really nice job of what bills are going through the legislature, kind of where everything is landing. Joe and I have spent a lot of time together over the past 3 weeks. We got to go up to meet with all the legislators from Windham County on the 25th, and we got to be in front of Senate Ed. Was that just last week?
It was
Last Wednesday.
Last
Wednesday.
Okay. And then I got to go up to Montpelier to meet with first-year superintendents, and all the discussion is obviously around Act 46, what possible bills are going through right now. Emily, you can comment at any moment or time. But the thing that kept getting reinforced for us was that the major thing that was being talked about with Act 46 was possibility of conditional extensions. Am I saying that correct,
Yeah.
Joe? Yeah.
Yeah.
But there was zero appetite for any rehaul, any major tweaking, any changing of the state plan being made in 2018. So I think that's important to know as we go into March 7th for our votes on Act 46, that the law as it is right now, based on how it's written and kind of what would happen in the immediate future based on at least the discussions that I have been privy to. It doesn't appear that any major changes are going to occur.
Yeah, everything I've heard, is what you've said. The only thing I've heard any interest in doing is technical corrections to allow sort of groupings that hadn't been thought of to happen, to make it a little easier to go outside of your district to get together. But all of it is around allowing more possibilities of consolidation and letting it happen quickly.
Yeah. I think that's.
Did we miss anything, Emily?
No, I just would say that, so everybody understands that the conversation around Act 46 is beginning in the Senate, in Senate Ed, and then will come to us when they're done with it. That was a decision that was made between the chairs of the two Ed committees. So we're taking testimony on Act 46 in House Ed, but not actively engaged as much at this point as the Senate Ed committee is themselves. So I just want to make sure people understood that right now. It will come to us eventually. I think your assessment of it was accurate. We are trying to find paths forward for school districts that are challenging, and I would just say that, facing challenges, and that the alternative structures draft language for the rules are still in play, and hopefully we'll get to see something new from the state board soon on that.
And then additionally, our audit from District Management Council that's checking out our special education and our instructional system. They'll be on site in the SU on February 28th. They're doing focus groups that will include everybody from para-educators to parents, principals, teachers, superintendent. And then the following day, they'll be visiting 6 out of our 8 schools and spending an hour with a team visiting schools. And they have this very particular data collection system that they'll be doing then. And our Director of Information Technology, Kevin Burke, is working with our Director of Special Education, Abby Dillon, right now. And there are 10 different categories of our financial data that we use with special education, with interventions, staffing. That is all being plugged into their proprietary database, which will collect all of this information and eventually get us to a point of some very specific recommendations to how we can operate a much more efficient operation for the benefit of students. So that's a very exciting thing that's going on. Marlboro just signed a contract today with their new principal. They'll be sending out a press release on Thursday. They finished their process at the end of January. They are very excited about this new team member and new leader for their school. Townsend is conducting their interviews this week, and we have posted for the special education director this month, and we'll be interviewing in March. And Stratton, for their town meeting, is asking to be removed from our supervisory union by the State Board of Education and placed with the Bennington-Rutland Supervisory Union. 95% of all of their students attend school in Bennington-Rutland. They don't operate a school, and it is within the State Board of Education's power to change those boundaries. So those are kind of the big things that are happening right now.
Winhall did that a few years ago. They actually asked WCSU to be let.
Right, so there's two ways to do it. One, you can ask your current SU and they'll vote you out. The other one is just simply to ask the State Board of Education to move you.
Question.
Sure, go ahead.
Looking at the budget summary sheet that you sent out, is there any correlation between the size of the school, the cost per pupil, cost per equalized pupil, and the tax rate? Because I cannot find.
You're talking this last one?
Yeah. I can't seem to find any correlation between anything in terms of, the larger schools seem to be having a higher cost per pupil, the smaller schools seem to be having a lower cost per pupil. The connection between the cost per pupil and the spending and the tax rate in the town seems, to my uneducated eye, completely random. And I don't know how I'm supposed to, when you say this is gonna answer people's questions, how does it answer any questions? You have a town like Brookline that did merge, whose tax rate is up. You have a town like Marlborough, which has the largest school, which also has the largest spending per pupil. You have our smallest school, Wyndham, which has one of the lower cost per pupil. Yet, Wyndham's tax rate is going up. Is there any way we can connect these numbers for the taxpayers to explain this stuff to them?
Well, I haven't done that analysis. At first blush, I would make the same kind of, trying to make a guess as you. If we looked at these numbers over time, I think that trends would probably emerge. And that is the kind of analysis that I would love to dive into and dig into. 8 months into it, we haven't done that yet. But no, I can't look at this right here and give you any definitive answer of X equals Y.
Okay, thank you.
Bill, can I ask a question about that?
Sure.
I don't know if I'm looking at the same sheet that you're all looking at, but someone had sent the different school districts in Wyndham Central. And I'm just wondering if that includes all the grants and things that our school districts get. So that could be changing some of the, if I haven't looked at it thoroughly, so I'm asking you, are small schools grants included in there and all that?
Yes, offsetting revenues are included.
Right. Which could help explain some of it.
Yeah, as you follow the path down, all of those things affect everything,
Okay.
You bet.
Anyone else got questions for Bill? Thank you, Sarah. Oh, just, it dawned on me while you were talking about the VSBA legislative update.
Yeah.
Does everybody get that email from the VSBA sent to them? Because if you don't, you should let the VSBA know. Because I got one the last day or two, legislative update number 5, and the links in there are terrific. It's more than you can read in an afternoon.
Oh, I did have a question. Bob, I saw you posted a music position today. That was Ron.
Ron's.
Okay. That
Well, it's not Ron's because our other teacher would move into Ron's and.
okay, but it isn't the other teacher that's actually leaving. It's
No,
it's Ron due to this.
Correct.
Okay.
Yep. I did share those all on the Facebook page of the school, so if you guys are on Facebook and you want to share those and expand the scope of the search, it's on School Spring, which is national, but you never know.
All right. The next piece of discussion is the Act 46 update. I can tell you that we've held 3 information meetings now in Townsend, Jamaica, and Newfane. Newfane Brookline was a combined meeting. I've been to 2 of them. They've been fairly well attended. I think I didn't go to Jamaica, but I think Newfane might have been the largest one so far. The questions have been good. I think there's based on some of the questions, I think we're actually reaching people and they're getting it. We have a draft of the second mailer that's going out to all the postal patrons. We may even get this one down in one sheet. It's all the questions that have been asked at the first 3 meetings and the answers to them, along with just a little paragraph reminding you of the next couple meetings and the importance of getting out to vote. And that's kind of where we stand. If anybody hears of people who have questions or of somebody who wants maybe a presentation for a group, a church, a service organization, anything, I know, speaking as the chair of the Act 46 committee, I'd be willing to go out and talk to them about it.
I'd be fine with doing it since I did it once.
Yeah, we would get somebody to go make that presentation for them. the important thing now is just to continue to talk to the people and get them out to vote, and see what happens on town meeting day. You sure, Patty?
I think those mailers were really key to getting people to pay attention, and, because we had quite a good turnout at Jamaica. It just seems like, and everybody had gotten the mailer,
And those meetings are online on Brattleboro TV. And apparently the Newbrook meeting was streamed live on Facebook, unbeknownst to me.
When you first.
Me too.
Didn't know, that was my first Facebook Live, and I didn't even know I was doing it.
Know when you're live.
He did not have to let us
Oh,
know.
the Newbrook one about
It
F-46.
was streamed live.
Yeah.
Yes, I saw that.
I would have liked to have known, but I guess it wouldn't have changed anything because I was already on TV. It's just kind of nice to know. Maybe I would have said something out and people would have watched me. So, any questions on that? Any comments?
Clarified it.
I will clarify that with you gladly.
All right, so it says policy. Is that just the pro forma agenda, or is there some policy matter we need to talk about?
It's the placeholder until we got through budget season.
Okay.
Yeah,
You're
there
just
is
playing
something
while
though
it's
that I've noticed.
You can't
I
make
pulled
fun
up the school board Leland and Gray page, and it's all new, so somebody's updated it, but the policy section that you click on isn't on here anymore.
Yeah.
And when I did a little searching to see if I could find it, and I pulled up a site map, and just for, ha-has, I clicked under pages to delete, and I found our policy page. So I think somebody might have oopsed.
Thank you.
So,
Okay,
there,
Right.
yeah,
so we should get that fixed, because
yeah,
Checking
probably.
back in.
Well,
everybody wants to read our policy. Yes,
All
Patty?
right.
Off the policy topic, but onto the website and trying to find minutes and stuff. I can't find any minutes beyond December 20th, 2016. It's very difficult, the way they are now.
Who's the person who should we
Kevin and Meg.
email that to? Kevin and Meg? Yeah, just send an email to Kevin and Meg and talk to them about the problem. Because if you,
But it's good to let me know.
right, but then you can work
Yeah.
directly with them and they can, change it, and it's really hard as a tech person. I'm not a tech person, but I work with a lot of them, and I know that, they always want to have you on live so they can ask you questions and see what you see and try and
Yeah, I mean,
duplicate
if
what
I
it
can't
is.
find it,
So
I can't imagine that a member of the public could.
I'd say send them an
to
email.
hunt.
Joe,
Yes,
could I just add to that and follow up on what Patty's saying?
yes.
Because as a person who's had to miss a few meetings, I really try to dig in and search for minutes and agendas and all that, and I have to echo what Patty's saying. I can't even find stuff on there.
So that's too.
I think it's a pretty serious issue, and it's not just a matter of us
Yeah.
letting Kevin know. I think we need to direct somehow some organization around our minutes and agendas for the public.
Okay, yeah, I haven't looked because but yeah, it sounds like that is a serious issue.
It is, I
yeah.
can't find
Yeah,
anything.
'cause it
Okay.
does. I see.
Okay, so, Bill, can you have,
You can direct
Kevin,
me to do that.
can you have Kevin take a look at that?
Yes.
Because I can see this biting us as a transparency issue
I
too.
agree.
If you can't
Totally
find, if you can't find budgets and minutes and Act 46 notes and articles and things like that, it just, it would not be good.
I completely agree.
Thank you. Okay, anything else? Moving right along, we have bills and pay orders, which I have somewhere. You guys reviewed them all, they're all perfect?
yes.
Okay, so we have
I'll meet with Kevin.
4 general fund warrants totaling $332,514.54 and 3 payrolls totaling $315,792.70 for a total of $648,307.24. We need a motion to approve that amount?
So moved.
Second.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded. Any discussion on the motion? All right, all in favor of approving the $648,307.24, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? I believe the ayes have it. I'll give you this, Peter. We have the consent agenda with the minutes from January 10th meeting. Actually, January 10th meeting. Is that the meeting that I took the minutes of?
Talking about Abby.
That's the meeting that I took the minutes of.
Maybe that's why you can, because they're not online.
They're not online. I
sure they're
emailed,
there.
We
I
might
emailed
wanna
a
defer
draft
that.
to them. I emailed a draft of them, but I don't believe they've been posted yet. So that would be because we didn't have Peter or our secretary, so
You've had your plate full.
Yeah,
yeah, we'll just move right past that.
Yeah.
Um,
They're there somewhere, I know they are.
Okay, so under the other business section,
oh, I have one thing to say.
sure.
Under
What do you-
others?
Sure.
So, the Newfane, I was going to the Newfane vote for the school budget, and the Newfane town clerk mentioned to me that she hadn't received her one sheet. She had received her one sheet about Act 46, which was very well received by the public, but the one sheet Leland and Gregg budget write-up, the consolidated one-sheeter that we send out every year, didn't happen. Does everybody know what I'm talking about?
Yeah,
Yeah,
the summary,
the
that's
summary
like
sheet,
a
the-
mail or a folded.
Right, and it's just a trifold
We
that
didn't
has,
do that this
and
year.
it just never occurred to me that I never received it until she said it never went out. The only one that went out was Act 46. So there's a lot of new administration going on, but that made a difference, I think.
Well, we did away with
Did we
that
do
because
that?
we published everything in the annual report, and we spent so much money publishing the annual report.
Except for the annual report didn't actually get mailed to everybody.
Right,
So
but
one
it's
of my
a-
neighbors mentioned like, oh, I just looked for that, like, that's just the one little consolidated summary sheet that's, if it's, I don't know, if it's a huge expenditure, we should think about it, but if it isn't, and it's something that's easy to produce and send out, I think a lot of people that are away from the town centers and the village centers might appreciate it, so, just a thought for next year.
Okay.
It's
It
also
was-
a reminder of the vote.
It is, and it
Yeah.
was communicated to me that it needs to happen by by the people I spoke to, the voters in Newfane, so,
I would echo that.
Yeah.
thanks.
Did we do that last year, or did we
No.
not?
What was the timing on that? You did it like in January?
I think I received it at the same time as I got the Act 46 one, which is why in my head it was all, I mean,
It was before the budget vote, and it was sort of,
Yeah.
it's sort of, the short version of the annual report. It was a 2-page thing folded up and mailed, and it had like the budget broken down by function on it. I can show you an old one.
and
Yeah, that'd
really
be
clear
helpful.
about what day you needed to go vote, where, and the hours
Yeah,
at the bottom
an
of it,
example
so.
would be fantastic.
I'll send you one. I have them. Okay, the only other thing under other that we were gonna talk about was, people that are up for reelection, and what your plans are. You're up for reelection, right, Patty?
I'm on that. I was a no, but I'm just not sure.
I'm on.
You're up?
Yeah.
Okay, and what are you doing?
I'll serve it.
Okay, you're up, right?
I'm up,
And,
and I'm gonna stay around as long as the voters will have me.
okay. I think
Another year.
you got another
Yeah,
year.
not me, it must
You
be
have another
Jeremy.
year. It's,
Yeah, it's
me
Jeremy.
apparently, which just news to me tonight, so.
Oh.
I thought, I.
Gloria always calls
you're a
to tell you.
lifer, I
She
think.
didn't call you?
No.
Oh,
I think you're a lifer, Jeremy.
Well, it's not on the town meeting warning either, which is interesting. Wouldn't they have to, don't they list all the positions that are up for election?
I thought.
'Cause all the other
Is your name
positions
not
are-
there?
It just has listed positions, it doesn't have school director at all on it.
I'm sorry, are you running or up for election?
I believe I'm up, if I'm looking back through the
I think his
poorly
name is.
constructed websites that keep this information, I think I am up for election.
Is that Jeremy?
Yes, it
Yes.
is.
Jeremy, you are up, and Gloria told me she contacted you and sent you, she told me she sent you a petition form. You needed to have a petition in time. You didn't get one in by the end of the the period when you have to put it in, which was January 31st, I think.
All right,
But
what's-
you can still do a write-in.
No, we got this as a write-in. It's 13 people in. It's all good.
All right, it's
We're
new
gonna,
to me.
we're gonna get.
It's all good.
I
I
mean,
could
if
also,
you do a write,
you
just
know,
remember, if you do a
walk
write-in, it's a 3-year term. If you have to be appointed, it's only a 1-year term.
No, Emily, don't remind me.
It's important that people understand the process
Really?
for Australian ballot.
It is true.
Oh, but I'm
Yeah.
not Australian ballot.
Well, no, but it's the same, it would be the same in Jamaica. If no
So
one was
if
elected,
nobody ran for my
the appointment,
seat.
the appointment is for 1 year until the next election, and
Right.
then they would have another election at town meeting. And
Right, but on
if
the
you do it
floor,
right, you would do
different.
well, it would still be the 1 year, wouldn't it?
But
If
if-
nobody,
if
if
no
nobody
one
went from the
ran-
floor,
Yeah, if nobody
If
Then
no
the
one
board
runs
would
from the floor,
appoint.
it's an appointment.
from the
then the board would
floor-
appoint for a year, and it would be the vote on the floor for the remainder of the term.
I just don't
the
want to do
next
it
time.
for 3 years. And my term is a 3-year term, and I know I don't want to do it for 3 years.
And you're still, you've got 2 years left
Can you
on a
resign
3-year
before
term.
the 3 years, or can you not?
And I don't want to talk about anything
No, I
else.
don't.
I'm also up for reelection this year, and as long as Townsend will vote me in, I'll do it again. So there you have it.
Can I add,
Yes,
are we done with that?
yes,
I wanna add some, are we on other business still?
yes. Then we're
I
gonna
just
have an
wondered-
executive session.
If nobody else was gonna speak to this, maybe somebody else did, about, Rebecca Holcomb being reappointed
Oh,
as
yeah.
Secretary of Education.
That was good.
I just thought it was important to mention that, it just happened. And I think that's good for public schools in the state of Vermont.
That's great news for the public schools in the state of Vermont.
Yeah.
That was kind of a surprise, wasn't it?
Not if you're looking at talent.
Well, no, but
She's very, very highly qualified for this job, and I'm really glad Governor Scott saw that in the budget.
yes. Okay, so anything else we have to discuss, folks? We have a fairly, is there action at the end of the executive session?
There could be. Well, yeah, there could be.
Okay.
But I can send it to Peter.
Yeah, I can
Because
send
of
it.
the film?
Well, yeah.
Yeah, it
it'll
won't
probably
be
stay
long.
around.
It won't
Okay,
be
it'll
long.
be short, but there could be something at the end to stick around for.
Yeah, there could be, depending.
All right, so we need a motion to go into executive session for a contractual matter, please.
Make a motion, we go into executive session for a contractual matter.
Where's there a second? All right, it's been moved and seconded to go into executive session for a contractual matter. All in
gotta
favor,
keep
please say
them.
aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Aye.
Abstentions? All right, we're in, folks. We're back live? Okay, so we're back live, and Patty,
I'd like to make a motion
okay?
that we ask the superintendent to negotiate the principal's contract as discussed.
Is there a second to that motion?
I'll second it.
Okay. It's been moved and seconded to direct the superintendent to negotiate the principal's contract as we discussed in executive session. Any discussion on that before we vote?
We need
What?
to authorize the chair to sign that contract once it's been,
Oh, yeah, we probably should amend
we add
that, huh?
that language.
I amend my motion to add, what was that?
To authorize the
Chair
chair
to sign.
to sign the
To sign
contract.
the contract as written.
Okay. Second?
I'm good with that.
Okay. So, still no discussion on the matter? All in favor then of directing Bill to negotiate the principal's contract as we discussed and authorizing the chair to sign that contract when it's done? Please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Nay.
Abstentions? All right, it appears the ayes have it, so the motion passes. I believe that's it. We just need one other motion, folks.
I just have a question about the next meetings. The
Oh, sure.
random
We need to
one
clarify
isn't
that.
on there.
Okay, so town meeting is March 7th. The Leland and Gray Board is going to reorganize on Monday, March 13th at 6:30. And basically, it'll be the lightning quick organization meeting where we elect officers. And it's solely so that then the Wyndham Central Board can reorganize at 7 right afterwards. This is all as a cautionary measure, depending on what happens with Act 46 merger vote. If that vote does not pass and we don't consolidate, then as WCSU, we're gonna be back at square one going, what do we do now? Do we go for a conditional extension? Should there actually be one by the legislature? Do we sit back and wait till it's done to us? Do we start working on some sort of an alternative structure proposal? Although we learned at the Senate Ed Committee that the alternative structure is first what you gotta do is consolidate everything you're supposed to consolidate, and then you talk about whether or not you have an alternative structure. So staying as we are and calling ourselves an alternative structure is not in the cards.
So you're saying if Act 46 doesn't pass at town meeting, then there is no Leland and Gray organizational before WCSU on Monday? Because we can just reorganize Tuesday because there is no.
If we've warned those meetings as a precaution, I guess if consolidation does pass, those meetings are less urgent and we could probably postpone them. But right now they're warned that way just because if consolidation doesn't go, we want to get out in front of
I see, I had that backwards.
as
Okay.
quickly as possible.
Okay.
Okay? So I guess depending on what happens on town meeting day, look for those meetings to change or move a little bit. But right now, Leland and Gray, all the boards, it's actually gonna be every board, all here. Every board will reorganize at 6:30 that night.
Oh, I see.
And then
And then
WCSU will
okay.
meet at 7, reorganize, and then WCSU can take the ball from there and say, okay, now what are we gonna do as a supervisory union?
Gotcha.
Since they were the point on the consolidation from the, for the last couple of years. So that's the reason for that.
And I just have a question, I know this is off Leland and Gray topic, but
Sure.
when is Wyndham's Act 46 information meeting?
Monday,
Monday.
it is Monday, February 20th, I believe 6 o'clock, but I'm doing that.
21st?
20th.
20th.
It's President's Day, I'm almost positive it's 6 o'clock.
I'm almost
Let me
positive.
see,
it's
I
6
might
o'clock.
have it in my calendar here.
And then March 1st here.
Yeah, it's 6 o'clock at Wyndham Elementary School on the 20th, and then March 1st is here. And I don't know if we're here in the Dutton gym or the main gym, but Marty's getting us a room. Anything else? All right. Who wants to make that motion?
I'll make a motion, we adjourn.
Second.
All right. It's been moved and seconded to adjourn by Drew and by Patty and Drew. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Anybody opposed?
Email?
All right, we're adjourned.
Good boy, Sue.